Today, we're going to talk about the 7-inch infotainment center or something they call this thing.
That's what Kawasaki calls it?
No, interactive.
Interactive.
7-inch interactive display. It's fancy marketing, and it took me a minute to remember it. But that's what we're going to talk about because a lot of people ask us to do a video on it because there's really no information on it except for like a couple photos on the Kawasaki website, and it doesn't really go through all the different screens and functions and modes. And there are some cool features, but is it worth the price? I'll let you guys decide after you watch the video, and you can say yay or nay. I'm going to tell you off the bat, the GPS in Canada, not very good. But when we went to the Hatfield McCoys, it was really good. So it's like, they don't care about us up north. If you live in the States, you get way better maps than if you live in Canada. We just drive through the bliss of nothingness on there. It's just gray.
Hope for the best.
Hope for the best. Like it doesn't even have the Great Lakes, like Lake Ontario, Lake Superior.
Oh yeah, it just shows that it's land.
They don't exist.
It's just
You're
nothingness.
Just driving in the abyss. It's funny. So yeah, let's get into it here. Cool thing when you turn the key on, it has a little Kawasaki KRX comes ripping up and slams on the brakes, a little puff of dust. It's very exhilarating. Then a warning, so I guess we'll talk about this. There's an annual service overdue. So the cool thing about this screen is it tells you all of your service intervals, depending on kilometers or hours. You can go through all that, which I will show you as we continue, but clearly I need to do a service. So this is the main screen here. It has your belt temp, CVT temp. It has your speed, kilometers an hour. You can switch it to miles. It has your trip odometer, your battery, your power mode, full power or low power. It shows your two-wheel drive or four-wheel drive and diff lock, your RPM, your engine coolant temp, which gear you're in, and then when it's not running, it's got all these lights on for check engine oil and electronic power steering, service reminder light. It also has the compass at the top right, north, south, all that, and it has ambient temperature for outside, so it comes with a temperature probe that you put in the front grille. So it's 20 degrees in here right now. And it has the time, and then across the bottom, as you can see here, it's got different modes to show you the different things. You can go through the screens, and then volume drops down on the left side here for your music. This main screen has two options. This is option number 1, and this is option number 2, depending on what you like to look at. So this is a digital, this is an analog, but the cool thing with the digital screen is you can choose what these other screens show. This is showing the front camera, and this is showing my music. If my phone was turned on, you'd be Bluetoothing to music. But you can edit these to be front and rear camera or GPS and music or whatever options you want based on the inputs on the screen. And when you go to this second view, it moves all your other icons to the left side here, which were in the middle originally. So depending on what you like to look at, it's kind of a neat feature. Now the next screen I'm going to go to is the yaw pitch, which I think is a complete joke and a waste of money. I never look at it. The only time I ever used it was at the Hatfield McCoys just to see how steep some of the inclines were, but other than that, I don't use it. Next screen is your music. So you've got AM, FM radio. So up on the dash, there's actually like a 1.5 foot long antenna that you have to install. And that's for your AM, FM radio. The factory stereo, the factory Hifonics stereo, the radio actually doesn't work worth a crap because there is no antenna. So you can buy the antenna to put on the Hifonics as well from Cowie. They don't give you that because I guess they figure when you're in the bush, most times you just listen to Bluetooth. So you have Bluetooth or auxiliary. You can run a headphone jack, which is above this in the cubby hole. You can plug in a headphone jack. And then in the music area, a lot of people don't like the Hifonics system. They say it doesn't sound very good, but if you click on this screen, the regular Hifonics has it as well. But if you go to the equalizer, you can turn your sub volume up, you can play with all your equalizers, and once you get all these dialed in, it actually sounds really good, I think, for a factory system. And then you have your Bluetooth settings here as well. You can choose your phone and whatnot. And then we go back to the music screen. The next screen down is going to be the GPS. So here you can see it's just gray matter of nothing, and then it starts to show a couple roads, and maybe if I zoom in it'll get better. No, it gets worse. If I zoom out, it still sucks. So it shows like almost nothing around here. So that's the GPS. It has some cool features on the right. You can start recording your day and it'll record your track. You can add waypoints and the settings on the waypoints. What's this? And these are all the trails that you've saved as you've driven around and recorded them. So you can go back to them in the future, which is kind of cool. Like, it's cool to have that. Next one is the cameras. So that's the front camera screen, and you can see the tires on the left and the right. So this is handy when you're rock crawling. You can kind of see the ledge you're hitting. I always forget I have it, but it would be useful if I'd remember. And then you can split screen it, front and backup camera, or you can go to just your backup camera, and this will stay on the entire time you're driving. If you don't want to use your mirrors or anything, you can run the cameras. Now, a really cool feature that I do like about the screen, if I go back to the home main screen, I like this one, on the main screen, and I pull this machine into reverse, the backup camera comes on automatically. And no one really talks about this or shows this, but that's really sweet. And as soon as you go back into neutral, the backup camera turns off. Now, if I go to forward gears, it does not put the forward camera on. It only does it for the reverse gear, and it's instant. Like, that's so quick. Really nice. I love that feature about the cameras. The split screen is pretty cool, and the front camera, when it's full screen, is really nice to be able to see what you're trying to climb over and what you're trying to do. And then the last screen in here is the settings for everything. So you've got your brightness, your dark mode. So if I flick that to go to bright mode, then it's all white. Maybe you like that. I find it kind of blinding. So I go with the black. Metric or imperial, I can use both, doesn't really matter. 24-hour time or 12-hour time. Daylight savings time. Yeah, what time is it? I should probably have that on right now. It's 8 o'clock. Oh, I better turn that on. No, it went the wrong way. It says it's 10 o'clock. Well, I don't know what's going on with that. We'll fix the time someday, maybe, or not. More time, language, English, radio, North America. So that's all your display settings. Then you go to your Bluetooth settings for your phone. Then you go to your GPS settings. You can do check your satellite status. So this shows you all the satellites that the dongle is picking up. The dongle is mounted on the dash as well, kind of near the middle. It's just a black box. So that shows you how many satellites you're picking data up off of. Track is all your saved tracks that you've done, and your waypoint manager is all your saved waypoints that you thought were interesting. And then lastly down here, the vehicle. So this is everything to do with the KRX itself. So system info just tells you the version of the software on this screen. Diagnostics, this is check engine codes. So if you have any issues, then they will pop up in here and you can read them and see what they are. Service info, so these are all your service intervals. Your oil change tells me I've got 1,700 kilometers left, or 82 engine hours, or 95 days. And then you reset it when you change the oil. So it just had an oil change. Regular service, 720 kilometers left. And this is your checklist of things. Why can't I click on that right now? The checklist here, I can't figure out why it's not opening right now. I had this problem before. I forget what I did to fix it. And this opens up and it tells you to change your air filter and check your differential fluids and everything. I just don't remember why that won't open right now. Annual service, same thing. You have to do this checklist, but it won't open for some reason. And then notifications you can turn on and off, whichever ones you want to see or you don't want to see. So that's all your service stuff. Then you can do your software update. You can do a USB, plug it in to update the software on here. And same with the map update. I've looked online. There are no updates for the map that I can find. Yaw pitch sensor that I showed you in the beginning, you can calibrate it if it's not sitting level. And then your camera inputs, you can turn them on or off if you've got cameras or you don't have cameras. So that is everything to do with this screen. So we'll just go back through it again. Your cameras, your map, your music, your yaw pitch, and your 2 different home screens. And my favorite feature, you put it in reverse and it goes to the backup camera. That's pretty sweet. So that's pretty much everything on the KRX 7-inch infotainment interactive.
Interactive.
What
you
a
got
word. The 7-inch interactive display. That pretty much sums it up.
So how was it to install?
Install is a biatch. You got to pull all the console out, all the plastics, pull the dash apart, drill some holes. You got to run wires all through the vehicle, front to back for the cameras, hook up a bunch of stuff to the bus bars. I would say it's a good 5 to 7 hour install, depending on how quick you are with pulling all these little freaking plastic pins out and running cables neatly. Depends how neat you want the cables to be. And drilling holes and stuff. So yeah, it's a good couple hours to install.
Yeah.
And then you just turn the vehicle on and it powers up and it works.
The nice thing about the Kawasaki's is they all come plug and play though. So
Yeah, everything's labeled very
Yeah.
nicely, so you
Yeah.
know where everything goes. And this comes with like bags of harnesses. You got to run all the harnesses, run it to the battery, to the bus bars, but everything's labeled. Yeah, plug and play. Cameras are all labeled. Everything nice.
Now, buying a Kawasaki new again, would you install one in a new machine if you were to do it all over again?
I don't know. I think if I was to do it over again, I would probably go with a base model and I would spend more money on rugged radio stuff to have music inside my helmet with the nice bass headphones and stuff. And I wouldn't put the speakers in the doors and such because I find most of the time when you're riding, to hear the music, you have it as loud as possible. People put amplifiers and bigger speakers and bigger subwoofers just to hear it over the wind noise and over the engine noise and over all the noises. Well, I would rather just have music right where I want it in my ears, not for everyone else in the country to hear as you're going down the road.
Yeah.
So I think I'd maybe forget it and I would buy a really, really nice GPS unit like a Garmin Tread or an Overland or something.
Yeah.
A nice big like 10-inch GPS and make a mount for it here. And then just run my rugged systems for my audio and my music and then
Yeah.
the push button to talk to everyone. You have the headsets on to talk anyways. I think I'd rather just have the music in my head and then
Yeah.
you get more storage space without subwoofers and all
Yeah.
that.
And you wouldn't miss the cameras too much? You like your reverse camera.
I love the backup camera, but I think you could just go on Amazon and get like a $40 one and have a screen like up here or something. It wouldn't be triggered by the reverse unless we figure that out. I'm waiting for some schematics for that, and then we're gonna see if we can figure out to get the cameras to come on when you put it in reverse, just like this one does. There's something triggering this. It knows that the shift fork inside the tranny is in the reverse location, and it's triggering this to turn on that camera through the system somehow without adding any extra buttons or switches. So I do think that there is a way. I've reached out to my buddy at the dealer to get the schematics to work on Mel's because I wanted to hook up her reverse light to come on when we put it in reverse instead of just on the aux beam panel. So people have asked about that in the comments. We are working on that. We're not done with that yet. But I think the things that I would miss on this, I could go aftermarket for
Yeah.
less than, because now, since we put this in a year ago or a year and a half ago when I first bought the machine.
Yeah.
And it was around $2,300, I think. And we just saw it priced out the other day at the dealer is over $3,000 for this now. So prices have gone up for the machines, for everything. And
Yeah.
I don't see the value in $3,000 when one of the most important features for us riding is the GPS, and it's not that good. So
Yeah.
I would rather a really, really nice. I'd spend $3,000 just on a GPS, and
Yeah.
then have a crappy backup camera because it's not as important to me as a GPS.
Fair.
But the other features are cool with the diagnostics and stuff.
Yeah.
I can live without that. How
Yeah.
often is a check engine light on? You need to read a code.
And with that new display that the ES has, it tells you all of that anyway.
Yeah, it's
So if
basically
they
this
were
display.
if they were to add that to any of the new machines, then I don't know, kind of null and voids the whole interactive display, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's really worth it. The one thing that they could have done with it that they didn't, which would have been sweet, is basically like ride command with Polaris.
Oh,
if other
yeah.
machines had this and we could all like link up and see a little blue dot as you're going down the map.
Yep.
That'd be cool, but the map kind of sucks anyway, so yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sold on it, so if anyone's really looking for it, this is our rundown on our opinion is, yeah, it's neat, but is it worth a couple $1,000?
I think
May-
that's a subjective thing.
It is, and
Yeah.
maybe a lot of people don't run the rugged radios. We're a dealer for rugged radios. Anything you want, hit us up. We'll get you the best price we can. And once you've ridden with people with rugged radios, the communication is crystal clear. It is so nice to be able to talk on where you're going, and the music works great. It's Bluetooth to your phone. You can take phone calls through your headsets, all that stuff. So once you've tried that, it's hard to kind of go back.
Yeah.
So I think that's my opinion on it. It's neat, but don't think I would do it again.
Cool.
Yeah. Hopefully that answers everyone's questions. If there's things we missed, ask them in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you've made it this far in the video. We really appreciate it. It helps us with the whole YouTube thing to keep making more content for you guys. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video.